A new jobs report brought some surprisingly good news. The U.S. gaining 2.5 million jobs in May, but it turns out a misclassification error could be making the unemployment numbers look better than they actually are. The unemployment rate is now 13.3% as businesses reopen amid the coronavirus pandemic. But the numbers come with an asterisk. The Bureau of Labor Statistics now says it misclassified some unemployed workers, and that the unemployment rate could have been as high as 19.2% in April and 16.1% in May. Seth Harris is the former acting U.S. Secretary of Labor under President Obama. Seth, good to see you. So can you explain how something like this could happen and what it means for this latest jobs report?
Well, I think we have a very complicated situation right now, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics is trying to figure out how to count people and how to classify them. What happened in this case is that they apparently misclassified workers who were working for businesses that had shut down because of the pandemic and were counted as being absent from work because they were on leave rather than being counted as unemployed. So they were counted among the employed rather than among the unemployed, and that drove the unemployment rate down about 3%.
But how does a mistake like that happen? I mean, it's so obvious while so many businesses shut down. I mean, that was public knowledge that people lost their jobs. How could you misclassify those people?
Right. Well, I think what happened was that the guidance that was given by the Bureau to the people who do the classification during the survey process just was not good enough, clear enough guidance. Remember, you have a large number of people working for BLS who are speaking with both workers and business establishments to try to figure out what's going on in the labor market, and then they are recording their answers. And the question is, how does each individual who's taking the survey responses record the answers on the survey? And what they found was there was systematic error in the way that folks were, their employees were recording these results. I fear that because this was a fairly serious misclassification, that people are going to hatch a bunch of conspiracy theories around it. They shouldn't do that. I don't think the folks at BLS are trying to cook the books or make President Trump look good. They're career professionals. They take their craft very seriously. They're trying to do the best they possibly can in a very complicated situation. So they were transparent about it. They told us about it. That's why you and I are talking about it. That's the right way to respond. Let us know what the real numbers are and where the confusion lay.
So you do not believe any kind of intentional tinkering or, bad act?
No, I don't. I'm not a conspiracy theorist generally, but also I got to know those folks at the Bureau of Labor Statistics extremely well.
All right.
They are professionals. They care about their craft. It didn't happen.
Okay, well, as you dissect the numbers, these new unemployment numbers also show a racial disparity. The unemployment rate for white Americans went down while the unemployment rate for black Americans went up. What do those numbers tell you, and how did they discern that?
They tell us that there's still a lot of systemic racism and systemic disparity in our society, that African Americans are overrepresented in low-wage jobs that were hit very, very hard by this pandemic and the economic consequences of it, and that we need to pay attention to ensuring that African Americans have every opportunity in our society, both for education and for job opportunities to rise within career ladders, and that we don't really have that right now. There has long been a disparity in the unemployment rate between African Americans and white workers. We need to fix it. We need to make sure that every worker is treated the same in labor markets and workplaces.
So the president's been taking a victory lap, very impressed by the numbers, but it wasn't that long ago that one of his advisors, Kevin Hassert, said, don't be surprised if we see 20% unemployment. Do you still think that there's potential there for that?
I would be surprised if that happened unless we have another big wave of the coronavirus pandemic and businesses have to be shut down in large numbers again. But I also wouldn't say that we're on a glide path to a full employment rate here either. This was a recovery of 11% of the jobs that were lost. That is probably, I don't think we know this, but I think we can speculate that that was probably a consequence of the action by Congress to pass almost $3 trillion in stimulus in the economy. So, for example, that small businesses got the Paycheck Protection Program. They were urged, they were required essentially, if they wanted their loans forgiven, to bring workers back. And apparently that is what happened. It happened in mid-sized and large businesses,
or at least
too,
pay them.
those that got support from the government.
All right. Seth Harris, thank you so much. Really appreciate your expertise. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fredricka.
All right.